kind of want to get on a tangent with that because, like, I've seen like wrestling trained at the highest level, and then obviously wrestling trained at high school.
Yeah.
And you and I kind of touched on this before, but it's like what I've seen in the high school room is like you have a competition coming up. We're gonna run you to the ground, and then we're gonna wrestle the next day.
Yeah, that was that was a crazy concept.
It was like it's like let's hit as hard as we physically can, while we're cutting weight too. You know, it was like let's go as hard as physically possible the day before, while you're already sucking weight, and then perform your best.
Yeah, Gables. Is that what it's called?
Oh, there was something like that. I forget what they
Whoever came up with that.
We called
strip matters.
We called them strip matters.
But yeah, I don't even think those were bad. They were just like.
No, what was that day we would do before matches? Or
I forget what this.
Yeah, whatever. Go ahead.
But like, just the concept of going as hard as physically possible leading up to it.
See, this
and
is
then performing.
And that's where I didn't see eye to eye with everything in that. But you have to understand. Number one, as a wrestler. Okay, I kind of experienced having to get ready for that match, right? Versus being a track and field athlete where I was trying to peak for the meet. They're not, you're not able to compare oranges to oranges.
Yeah.
Or apples to apples here. Okay, they're not the same. The central nervous system responds very similar to certain things, but you have different, you have different energy systems going on. Okay, so a thrower, I have to be explosive for 7 feet for 2 seconds. That's my event. Okay, now it takes a lot. There's a lot of coordination involved in that. But and when I was wrestling, right, we had to go for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And we had to be able to apply force or absorb force, rotate. We had to do a lot of things. You know, we had to be quick. So we had to be able to do that for 2 whole minutes.
Yeah.
Right. You may have noticed that I never got on the mat with you guys because I'm not in that kind of shape anymore. But so it's a little bit different. I still would say that when you want to peak, you should be having a decrease in some of your work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Because like. Obviously, you're showing to work hard. Obviously, you still need to lose weight.
Yeah.
Like, what I'm getting at is, like, M2, for example, when I trained up with those guys, we had Super 32 coming up. And the difference in training is, like, 2 weeks out, we trained balls to the wall.
Right. That makes a lot of sense.
We went very hard. I mean, like, mat was slippery. You could slide from one side to the other and sweat.
You're crawling out of the room.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And as a week comes by, we do the exact same workout, but more spaced out.
Yeah, you got more rest in between drills. Yep.
So so instead of having 15 seconds, now we have 30 seconds in between, and we're starting to space it out a little bit, all the way up until 3 days before, 2 days before, when everybody's about to fly out. We got minute breaks, minute and a half breaks. You know, everybody's cutting weight. They're tired. They're still working out hard. They're still sprinting. But we have minute and a half breaks.
Yeah.
So and then it's only like a 30-second go. You know what I'm saying?
Because you already at the 2 week mark, the pre 2 week mark, you already put that work in.
Yeah.
And all you're doing really is because even though you're getting a longer rest period, you're still doing it high technique, high explosive, high speed, okay, high force output or high force absorption. So you're maintaining what you achieved 2 weeks ago. You're just not frying your nervous system leading into the competition.
Yeah.
And see, I think though, well, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, I think when you guys were going into districts though, things got a little bit better. Did they?
I don't remember exactly how the workout. I don't remember exactly, so I'm not gonna say for sure. But there's a chance that we started turning things back.
Yeah.
For like very very specific things, but like even on like a week basis, it would be like let's grind, and then we're gonna go grind again tomorrow for our match.
Yeah.
That'd be super tough.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you. Like I had a young man down at Susky. He was a triple jumper, and he was able to finish 8th in the state his senior year. Well, what we did is we programmed his senior year most of the time he would finish a track meet and then he'd leave the meet to go down into the weight room and finish his workout. I was programming meets as workout days because he was blowing people out of the water by like 10 feet. It was like he wasn't even working.
Yeah.
So each of those track meets, it's kind of like the young lady that sprints here at Spring Grove. Okay.
Yeah.
Her regular track meets are not hard work for her.
Mm-hmm.
So they get programmed into, or can be programmed into being just another workout. Okay. Because she's going to put good intensity in, she's going to get good work done, but we don't need to necessarily peak. But that's because of the level that she's at. Right. Okay. So you can do that with your typical high school athlete, though. A competition every week is a big deal, and so we should probably be a little better recovered for that day.
Yeah,
especially when it's like 3 competitions to 4 competitions a week.
That's when it gets really fun, and that's where I agree with a lot of coaches, but some of them I think need to see and voice their opinions more. I think we have too many competitions per season and not enough just development practice days. If you think about this, the power ranking schedule power ranking for District 3 or for states, okay, is percentage based. So if it's percentage based, decrease the number of competitions, get more development during the season, because we all know that you can only get so much done in the off season because that's not mandatory workout time, right? There are dedicated kids to show up to things and do get better in that off season, but the whole team won't. And you can't punish multi-sport athletes for not showing up to those workouts.
Yeah.
Because and really multi-sport athletes I think have a greater advantage because you're doing different things every season, and so you have better all around athletic development.
Yeah.
So
that's where I feel like high school's tough though, because the time frames are small. You're not forced to go in the off season. You can only work around certain things to get certain kids on the team there. And some of them are playing other sports, some of them just don't want to show up.
Yeah.
So that is a harder thing, but that whole thing, like, we don't have a good fluctuation of training at all. We train hard in the gym, then go to jiu-jitsu the next day and train even harder, and then it's like by Friday I can barely walk.
Well, okay, so that's a great point to bring up because I run into that problem with some of my athletes. I'm juggling. Okay, we're playing on 2 or 3 summer baseball programs.
Yeah.
So now I gotta figure out. Okay, I got a kid going down to Tennessee. He's gonna be there for a whole week. We got access to a rinky-dink little hotel weight room. That's it, and then his set of bands. All right, so here's a program that you're gonna try and do. Fortunately, it was scheduled correctly. They only had 1 game per day, so we worked out that whole week. I was able to get away with that with him. He's in excellent shape. He recovered very well. Actually prepped him to throw harder and swing harder and sprint better the following day, each day. He did great down there. Next tournament though, he's got 2 games a day. All right, well, we're going to just do recovery workouts at the end of the day. Make sure that you are feeling a little bit better just to get into the next day and get through those 2 games. But then I also am running into problems because he's playing on a local team. So he's got games here on Monday, he's got a game on Wednesday. I'm like, okay. And that's okay. He's playing, we're very slowly baby stepping up. Fall and winter will be his big off-season building phase. I'm not worried about it at all, right? But it is a juggle, and you have to take into consideration a lot of factors, like how well does this kid recover from things? How stressful is his position in baseball or whatever competitions he's got? How many competitions is he going to have this week? What's the so you can't always go, all right, yeah, this is easy. We go high intensity, low intensity, high intensity, low intensity.
Yeah.
It might be 3 low intensities. All right, we got a couple of days break. Let's throw a high intensity in there.
Yeah.
And then we're right back to another 4 low intensities because that's all we can get in. Because in the end, the priority is on the competition.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's the whole reason we train. Now, we love to train. Right, we love to train, like, especially like the 3 of us. We like to actually get in the weight room and do those things.
Mm-hmm.
Some athletes don't. They're like, they think of weightlifting as a chore, right? We're different because we actually like to go and do that.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, we still. So I find myself having to do this, especially regularly with this knee. I have to remember, I want to be as the best hammer thrower that Mike Fleming can be.
Yeah.
That sometimes means I need to walk away from the weight room and just go do slow drills or work on weaknesses of hammer throwing. I really want to be in there because that's again kind of like big dopamine, right? Like I hit a new number, right?
Yeah.
But did that make me a better hammer thrower?
Yeah.
Not necessarily. Okay. So yeah, like you gotta learn where the balancing act is.
Yeah. That's where it is with like kind of like doing jiu-jitsu for us. It's like, yeah, nobody wants to tap out, but if I get my arm broken, I can't train for another 6 months, you know?
Right.
So
or if you just let it go too long and now you're sore for like the next 2 weeks.
Yeah. You're looking at a little bit of a sprain in that joint, right?
Yeah.
That's not gonna help you out.
I got a little confident, now I got a hurt shoulder.
Right?
Oh well. And it's just, we're all kind of similar minded to where it's like, man, if I had to take a week off physical activity or the gym, my mind would go absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I agree.
And then that whole spiral effect where you talked about would just come
So it's interesting that you brought that up because I think there is that aspect of doing hard work is really good for your body and your brain, right? But then also coming back to good social interaction.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we're finding separations when this country and many other countries used to be very agricultural. Like we have big parts of our country that are agricultural, but we definitely have a lot of office workers, right? Well, when you're farming, you a lot of times are sort of isolated because you're off to one area doing work or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? But you're doing good work that's going to be productive, okay? And usually you have some kind of social interaction throughout the day that usually is positive, okay? These are big generalized statements, but again, I think we've separated the two of hard work and good socialization because the nature of jobs has changed.
Yeah.
Right, in our human evolution here. So yes, it's good to get a good hard workout in, but then at the same time, I would say try to find ways that, let's say you did take a couple days off, you're not going stir crazy because you didn't get your work right. So what's the priority, right? And it doesn't need to be no lifting, but it shouldn't be lifting only. Or jiu-jitsu only.
100%.
Right. And you guys are in a good state because most of the time you guys are probably working out together, right?
Yeah.
Like, so there's your socialization, right? But some people don't necessarily get that fact, right? So I think, and that's where I worry about some people that just go to the gym 3 days or 3 hours a day, every day of the week. I just love going to the gym. Like, okay, well, when's the last time you had a good conversation, like an in-depth, challenging conversation with somebody, right?
Talk to a girl.
Yeah.
Or like got confronted on a subject and didn't immediately react with conditioned anger. You were able to absorb and think about that constructive criticism and then positively apply it to the situation so that you got better.
Yeah.
Right? Okay? And that, don't get me wrong, I'm horrible at that. Like,
Yeah.
It took me a long time to get better at it. I'm still probably not good at it. Okay? But I realize that is a weak spot, so I'm working on it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm pretty similar in that aspect. I actually, when I was in Tennessee, we went to North Carolina on the way home, and I got into it with a vegan. They were like doing this whole protest activist thing, but it was good. Like, I didn't freak out or nothing. Like, there were 4 people standing holding screens, and I looked, and then this guy comes up to me and he says something like, "Have you seen this? Something about not eating meat or whatever." And I'm like, I'm not the guy for this, dude. And so then he goes harder, and then I start spitting facts. He starts, but it was a good conversation. I couldn't get him away from me. So
Yeah.
I was like, all right, dude. Like, and I was like, hey, I'm glad you're standing up for something, but maybe this isn't the one.
Yeah.
Why is he more passionate?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think in some respects, you really have to back away from fad dieting.
Yeah.
100. I don't even like the term diet.
No, right, yeah. And I think that's why people like vegans get a little trapped, because it's not horrible research, okay? But I would also say we don't know enough about the gut biome, okay? Like probiotics and the whole mind gut connection with the vagus nerve. So that's my newest thing.
Me too.
I'm going after the vagus nerve. I'm trying to learn as much as I can about it. The vagus nerve is one of the cranial nerves that comes out of your brain, and it innervates lots of things all the way through, from sternocleidomastoid, trapezius, heart, lungs, diaphragm, gut organs. Okay. So I don't think there's a one set food reference for 100% of the population of the world.
Yeah.
For example, there are very healthy vegans. They aren't truly vegans, but they're, let's call them vegetarians, in India. Okay. They don't have, as far as I know, any major problems. Otherwise, they would have. And here's the thing: if you historically look at location and food staples, the only reason we know that staple worked and it's from that area, like let's just say, Italian food, okay? I'm Irish. We don't really have a lot of food that we're known for.
Whiskey.
Right? But Italians are known for pasta and really good food. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because the reason they're known for that is because it's stuck around. Bad food staples should not stick around.
Yeah.
I say should not because Western processed sugar and processed foods are only getting stronger and creating more problems in our health.
Yeah.
So if you look at a vegan or a vegetarian, there are references out there for them to say that this is healthy for the gut genome. I'm not 100% arguing that, but I will say, and here's another soapbox.
That's it.
If you look at our teeth, we have omnivore teeth, like bears. We have short guts. If you look at a cow, how many stomachs does a cow have? 5. 4.
I would say 6.
Come on, guys, biology.
It's a
4
cow,
stomachs,
right?
right? What do cows do? They lay on the ground, they regurgitate and chew up their food and then swallow it into the next stomach to break down. Also, you look at the bacteria that is present in real herbivore stomachs and intestines. Not stomachs, sorry, in their intestines. They've got bacteria that will break down cellulose so that they get energy out of the cellulose. Cellulose is your plant wall, okay? So when you brown rice versus white rice, you can't digest the brown. That's why for 4,000 or 5,000 years, maybe longer, Asia has been eating white rice, not brown rice, because they know that your gut can't handle that brown outer shell. You don't have anything to break that down with, okay? So if you look at our teeth, how short our gut is, and the bacteria in our gut, we are made to eat, in some respects, both. I would say too much fruit would be a problem because fruit is just, it's healthier, but it is a lot of sugar, okay? And you wouldn't, and I can make this argument, you really wouldn't, okay? My ancestors would not get fruit during the winter.
Yeah.
Because I'm from, Ireland and Northern Europe, okay? All right? We wouldn't get fruit in the winter months. And then we would live off of great things like roots, like potatoes and hopefully carrots. Right, things like that. Okay. All right. And then, but what people from Northern Europe are good at is we can actually still drink milk. Because now, it's not 100%, but a lot of times Northern European descent are able to continue drinking milk. They don't become lactose intolerant because for millennia, they used milk from their farm animals as a staple. So you just continue being able to break down, okay? So back to, I think you need to, again, moderation. I think you should eat some vegetables, not too many. Like meat is very important because you have to get good proteins and good animal fats. Okay, there are minerals and vitamins that come from those staples that you need. And then a little bit of fruit is a pretty well-rounded, it's a good meal.
So how I think about it, and kind of the guy, I don't know if you ever heard of Paul Saladino, Carnivore MD. I follow that kind of diet, and it just makes sense to me. Like fruits have colors. Fruits, they look like they're meant to be eaten, rather than plants that are green and not as digestible. And I think there is a lot of studies that are good about these vegan diets. A lot of them are observational, but none of them are long enough. Even carnivore animal based, none of them are 10 years, 5 years. They're 6 months, a year maybe, So that's such a debate, the teeth thing. And I know from like personal experience, so I tried meats, fruits, and white rice, which is what I eat now. I tried just meats. And when I did wrestling, I did basically calories in, calories out. And so I felt all the different things. And I think personally me, I've always noticed I eat a lot of fats, but also when I cut carbs completely, I didn't feel good either. My energies were low, and I gave it enough time to where they were saying these things were going to go away, and they didn't. So
I think you really hit on a good one there, because I was the same way. I've definitely done 0 carbs and just ran out of energy because I'm doing a lot of explosive athletic movements with a lot of volume. I only have to do something explosive for 2 seconds, but I'm going to do a lot of throws, and then I'm going to do a lot of repetitions lifting, and I'm going to get other movements, sprints done, stairs done, things like that. So I think having some carbs, and I think it also comes back to, again, what type of carbs. Like a potato, a lot of carbs, a lot of starch, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's not refined.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if I eat a bag of potato chips, I got a lot of other chemicals.
Yeah.
Then here's another thing you think about. Okay, you think about these foods that we're putting into our bodies. Not only, now you can find very healthy processed foods. I'm not trying to knock everything, right? But to do some of the things and preserve some of these foods, the man-made chemicals that are getting put onto the food.
Yeah.
Okay, and this will kind of ring true with our current topic is people worry about how sweet something is. Well, as bad as refined sugar is for your body, at least your body knows what to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Your body doesn't know what to do with a chemical man-made sweetener.
Seed oil too.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It has no idea what I'm supposed to do with
Mm-hmm.
that. It'll probably try to, get it out. But in some respects, some of it might be left behind
Mm-hmm.
and doesn't do anything,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's why I say, if you have to eat something with sugar, that's fine. Don't do anything that says diet on it.
Yeah.
Okay,
I agree.
because diet means chemicals.
Mm-hmm.
So just stay away from it.
So I'm getting ready to work with my first person who I'm really doing their nutrition.
Yeah.
That's really what I'm into. Like I love the nutrition and health aspect of everything because I felt good. I've done it the right way, the wrong way.
Yeah.
And I believe I'm doing it the right way now. So
Yep.
basically, I don't even want to overwhelm her with counting calories or tracking this and that. I want her to replace her meals that she's eating now with more whole foods and stop eating the processed foods, the seed oils, try to cut gluten. But it's like, at the same time, I don't like the word diet, and I want her to slowly implement all this so it's not just one like, oh, I'm losing weight, I'm looking good, but I'm hating my life right now.
Right.
So
Yeah, and now you're talking about lifestyle changes.
yeah.
Okay, and
Yeah.
that's where a bigger, stronger concept needs to come into place, because when you create a good habit and you can make it last, now you've changed something significant. And you're right, like being miserable, because we've all been there,
Yeah.
cutting weight for wrestling.
Yeah.
It is miserable.
Yeah.
Okay. What are you getting out of that, right? Okay. So if you're trying to just help somebody be more healthy, then yeah, eat. And this is the way I approach my clients. I try to always approach, all right, what's your setup at home? How can I adapt this workout to your setup at home so that you will consistently continue to do it?
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that's a big word that you can use with this client of yours. How can you and I work together to make sure that you consistently follow this?
Mm-hmm.
And we're getting the pieces of what I want in it,
Yeah.
and you're getting some goals out of it without being miserable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And that's why I love being in the gym and I love the personal training, but the health aspect to me is so cool because I believe there's serious studies that show it will help with your anxiety, it will help with depression, it will help with mood,
Yeah.
it will help with sleep, it will help you in the gym. And it's like we're so away from that. Food is actually medicine, and
Yes.
it's not just what you eat, or like I'm gonna eat this for lunch. It's like, no, I want to eat something that's gonna fuel me. It's gonna make me feel better. It's gonna make me think better. Like,
Yeah.
We should get together again next summer, because next summer we're going back down to Alabama, and I'm gonna go. So my wife's friend Rebecca works for the University of Birmingham, Alabama.
okay,
She's one of the psychologists, and I forget her position, but Dr. Rebecca Kennedy does amazing work with whole health of students. Okay, and so she's trying to work with lots of different, and this is what I like. I think health and medicine, and it needs to change the way that we do things, and we really need to kind of do more of a networking, collaborative team approach of, all right, how do we have to bring in all these different aspects to cover the facets that we've talked about today
Yeah.
for everybody's health. Well, Dr. Kennedy is going to help me get in touch with he's a physician. He's a physician down there. That movement is medicine is his, but then he also has a connection to some registered dietitians. Okay, he's got connections obviously with Dr. Kennedy, a psychologist. Okay, so now you're pulling in nutrition, movement, mental health. Okay, and then this is the great thing. She and I were talking about what's called, and you guys, we need to talk about this probably later, upstream thinking. Okay, so here's a quick little side story, and I can give you guys a link later to put with this.
Okay,
it's
cool.
a little video to follow. The story that Rebecca told me was, all right, you're sitting by a river one day, and all of a sudden somebody is in the river, can't swim, you go help pull them out. Well, just as you're pulling them out, there's another one. Pull them out. Here comes another one. Why are all these people falling? So a lot of people will deal with the situation on hand and be reactive. Not wrong. I need to go save that person. They're in trouble, right? Some people might get as far as saying, why are all these people falling into the river? Okay, so really the big question is, what do I have to do to stop these people from falling in the river way upstream? Okay, you might go upstream and find, oh, bridge is collapsed. So we need to make sure that people don't try to cross the bridge because they're falling in, right? So that's a very simplistic, but
yeah.
Do you understand how you have to start thinking upstream and figuring out problems? And this helps you cover all the facets of the idea.
So it's essentially not being reactive but proactive.
Yes.
in a sense.
Yep. It is proactive, but it's also like it's a bigger concept of proactive though, right? Like proactive kind of has a connotation of I'm just dealing with this one problem, right? But if I look at there are lots of different ways that I could help this situation by being proactive on this front and then proactive on that front and proactive on the front over here. Okay, so that's kind of what upstream thinking kind of takes into account. Yeah, I think it's a great concept. And Rebecca even said, I am an upstream thinker, I just never thought of it that way.
So Team Mike just got a phone call, and we think we've had an amazing podcast today. I just wanted to shout out Fleming Athletics. It's at an absolutely fantastic facility. This guy's way smarter than honestly anyone I know. And like I can attest myself in my wrestling, I don't think I would have possibly been able to make it to states my senior year if it wasn't for Team Mike. I absolutely trashed my ankle, and with his help, I was wrestling within 3 weeks. So I don't know. I have nothing but praise and respect for this guy. I love this guy to death. If you need anything physical training or athletic wise, please reach out to him. As you saw today, he is an absolute ball of knowledge. So I just want to thank you for being on the podcast.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, awesome guy, great episode today. I hope y'all enjoyed. I had a great time talking to you. I hope you had fun on it, and
Yeah.
peace out. Be better, guys.